There we go. Testing. Testing. Are we good? Yeah, no sound. I'm basically miming the whole time. Are we good? Can we hear me now? Testing. I'll just reiterate everything. Yeah, I just did it. Hey, we can hear me now? Stupid mic. All right, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the morning note. Good morning. Are we good now? We're good? Okay, that's the microphone for you. So there you go. Good morning, everybody. Let's talk about the morning note. Thank you for joining me this morning. That was a quick 5-minute mime session, obviously, but we'll talk about the markets now. Okay, Dow Futures are up 73 now. Nasdaq up 44, S&P up 9, and Russell is up 0.43%. We are fading here. The VIX is at 2197, 2.62%. Dollar is up 94.37, up 0.04%. 10-year Treasury up 1552. Currently on the yields, it is up again. Crude oil is down 1.43%, 73.75 a barrel. Gold futures are up 0.80%, 17.36 an ounce. 21.71 for silver futures, up 1%. Euro dollar down 14 pips, 11583. 111.94 for the dollar yen, down 5 pips. Ethereum is up 3,000, above 3,000 on the future side. Bitcoin is up as well, 43,400 on the future side. So that's where we are. Okay, let's talk about what was that headline today. Today the headline was the government shutdown. I repeated that, but you guys didn't hear it. My bad. Let's go ahead and go over it real quick. So I'll just go over everything I just went over. Senate reaches a deal to avoid a government shutdown. The Senate has reached a deal to avoid a government shutdown. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said on Wednesday the legislation would fund the government into early December and provide money for hurricane relief and Afghan refugee settlement. Congress has to pass the funding bill before midnight Thursday to avoid a shutdown. Lawmakers will separately raise the U.S. debt ceiling before October 18th to prevent its first ever default. We talked about this yesterday, guys. It's the same deal. It's all drama. It's all political theater. We know that next year we have election cycle 2022 for the House, some governorships and what have you, and some Senate voting or some Senate races, excuse me. So again, this is all just the same old deal, guys. It's political theater. We know the drill. We're not going to default in any debts in the United States. And government shutdown has happened before, but we've gotten out of it pretty quickly. So again, it's the same old, same old. I wouldn't put too much weight into it. Yes, headlines make a difference, but that's where we are currently. So I really wouldn't put too much weight that the fact that we don't have a government shutdown. I would assume that's the baseline for our political system and process in the United States. That wow, we have politicians that actually want the government to run. What an idea! So that's where we are this morning. Some pre-market movers. Again, I looked at it this morning. It wasn't really much, to be completely honest with you. So Bed Bath & Beyond was down. Kohl's was down. That's the only things that really stood out. Let's take a look here this morning at E-mini futures. Again, we talked about this yesterday, being kind of like the movie trailer, but it's not the real movie. We don't know yet. So again, 43.80 did break last night, overnight, on that headline from the government shutdown deal. Okay, cool. But we didn't break above that. We didn't stay above that. So again, we're still back to the same channel. Nothing has really changed here. Keep in mind, guys, it's the end of the month and the end of the quarter. So I'd expect a little more volatility towards the tail end of the day. I got into QQQ puts yesterday. I put that stuff up on Twitter, some of the charts there. But yeah, I do believe that we're going to fall a little bit today. I expect a red day today as we get into the end of the day and end of the quarter, end of the month. So maybe 43.40 on S&P is the expectation. So again, I wouldn't be doing much trading, if anything. As you know, we're to the tail end of the week. But I do have some QQQ puts running right now that's expired on Friday. That's going to expire on Friday. They're the 358s. Yesterday, we did have a candle that boosted up right at 2 p.m. and then we fell back down and gave that back up. We tapped right around 358.68. Right now, we're at 360.32. That 50-day moving average is really your resistance currently. We bounced above that and we came down below. So again, kind of a choppy session, choppy week. Tuesday, we had that big flush, which nuked some premiums of ours. But that's just the reality of the game. It's kind of hard to predict those kind of washouts. But at least we're getting into the fourth quarter now, starting Friday. The fourth quarter is relatively the strongest quarter of the stock market, the S&P, since 1950. So that's a good sign as well. But again, we're starting to see a little bit of a fade here, even with the news of the government shutdown being avoided. And we're getting this bill or this, I guess, funding bill, what have you. But the debt ceiling has not been raised yet. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Again, yields are still up. That hurts tech. Again, it's all about the velocity yields. The dollar is up as well, so can't really have hyperinflation or what everyone's freaking out about. But again, just be careful today. Again, expect a little volatility. I kind of treated today like an OPEX day, where you have all the options expiries. But again, it's the end of the quarter, end of the month. So again, we don't know how the hedge funds and funds will actually have to rebalance their portfolios. We know the drill, they're 60-40 for the most part, 60% bonds, 40%, 60% stocks, 40% bonds. If bonds are too strong, that means they have to sell bonds. If stocks moved up a little too much, they have to sell stock to keep that balance of 60-40. That's what that means. So my apologies again for the sound being off. I kind of went over everything that we had. Jobless claims 362,000 versus 335, higher than expected. This quarter was the worst quarter for Chinese stocks versus the world in comparison to the world in the last 20 years. The GDP number did meet expectations of 6.6% in the second quarter. So that's where we are. Again, we had some pretty decent news. Again, we're up, but not enough to really celebrate anything. Again, I'm still bullish toward the end of the year, but again, October is where it gets a little wishy-washy for the most part. It's still pretty solid. Again, this is a great chart I posted on Instagram as well. Take a look at this. Get ready to hear about some spectacular crashes during the month of October. We know this. 2008 was pretty bad. 1987, October, we know that. But the past 10 and 20 years, this is the fourth best month of the S&P 500, which is October. Since 1950, it ranks 7th, and during a post-election year, it'll be 5th. So, you know, hey, you never know. Maybe October becomes that starting point as we get into November and December. Guys, we only have one more quarter left. The year has been running quickly. So very cool to see. Good morning. Let's see. Let's answer some questions. What are your thoughts on RIDE breaking out? Let's take a look at RIDE. I think this is Lordstown Motors. Lordstown Motors, I believe, had some kind of funding deal. I read something on Twitter regarding that. Let's look at the daily. Right now we're at 785. That 100-day moving average of $8.19 is big resistance, so I'd be very careful until it breaks that. So I'd wait for that, if anything. JPM, again, still playing on the yields. We're right on the 50-day moving average. Let's see if we can break 167.95, 168 today. I do own those JPM calls, but again, the slam on Tuesday did not help matters. Let's see, what's your price target for Google? Price target to buy for me, I want 24.44. That's what I'm looking for. But I already own Google through SpyG, which I buy every week. Gold shining, yeah, it's about time gold actually does a little something. But I remember when we were close to 2,000 in per ounce. But again, 1840 would be nice to kind of get out of this kind of choppiness that we have. You can see on the daily here in the bottom on gold. Let's see it here. On gold, again, 1840 is your level that I'm waiting for break. If that happens, I target 1900. But right now, that big support is right around 1697. So there really isn't tons to be bullish on in regards to gold. Gold doesn't really provide a lot of returns. I have some gold coins. They're sitting in my safe, pretty cool. But other than that, it's not a big deal to me. Microsoft calls, let's see. Looking at Microsoft calls here again, guys, be very careful. We have a little gap down here. We're consolidating as well. It looks pretty bearish on the 1 hour. But on the daily, again, 277.37 would be nice. I'm waiting for 260. If 260 does hit, I'll be buying more Microsoft. I love that stock. But again, always the price is very, very, very important. Remember, this was a $300 stock just last month. And this is a great company, great cash flow, great management. I mean, what more could you say? But again, Microsoft's a big part of the S&P. So again, they're weighted on that. So that's what happens there. If it falls, the stock market falls. Microsoft's a big part of that. Second largest weight, it's going to be affected. If you had to buy a stock for the long term, what would it be? Just one stock? I love Apple, but Microsoft is great. I think those two are the best, hands down. Do you think NQ hits the 100 DMA before a real bounce? I really do think that NASDAQ is going to hit that 100 DMA right over here, right at 1630. If we just hit that for a little bit and kind of consolidate there, I think we bounce, absolutely. But I think we do tap that right around 14.6, which is only about 150 points away from where we are currently on the futures. So nothing too crazy. The dollar's hitting resistance on the weekly chart. Yeah, we looked at that yesterday. So again, let's see if we start getting there. Look at the daily chart. We're starting to get to resistance. If we go to a 3-year chart, same resistance. We're above the 100-day on the 3-year. So right around 94.50 is your resistance. If it breaks above that, that's where it really starts getting interesting, because again, this affects multinational companies that do business overseas because their dollar is more expensive. Then they have foreign currency issues in terms of the slippage in price and strength. So again, multinational companies like cheaper dollar. Again, more domestic like the stronger dollar companies. So again, like an Apple, a Microsoft, a Google, they're going to be affected by a stronger dollar. But again, anything that's more domestic, a stronger dollar is actually beneficial to them. So like think restaurants and cyclicals, they're going to be better off with a stronger dollar. Of course, that helps the banks too. Good morning, Carlos. Thoughts on SPY for puts? SPY, again, I think Qs are better off for puts. For SPY, we're still stuck in this range. If you take a look at E-mini futures, which is the same deal as SPY, you can see that we're still back into this same channel. We broke above 43.80, which will be 438 on SPY, but nothing has really changed. So again, 4,400 would be great. That'd be 440 on SPY, but I think that we'll still be stuck in this range of 43.40, 43.20 for a little bit until we kind of churn into October. Today is the end of the month, end of the quarter, so I just be very careful on what you do here. I wouldn't want to be buying calls at this level unless we start getting some meaningful breaks of moving averages. Until then, I still think today I'm a little bit bearish in terms of the market because of being end of the week, end of the month, end of the quarter. But again, anything could change. So let's see. Good morning. Thoughts on XLM after Merc acquisition? Acquisitions are fine. Obviously, Merc is up in regards to that. I don't see XLM, so we'll take a look at Merc. Merc is green pre-market, but nothing crazy. Again, guys, these large biotech companies don't really do much. If you're buying Merck or a Pfizer or a Johnson & Johnson, it's for the yield. You're not buying it for growth at the end of the day. Right, Mara, looking good for the calls for crypto pushing. You know what? That's one thing I have done before, which is play crypto over the weekend. The only thing that gives me worry is that the dollar is getting stronger. Keep in mind that crypto is based in dollars or priced in dollars. So again, if we do break that resistance, crypto could be affected short term. So Mara and Riot calls could get hurt. Right here again, if you start breaking above 34 on Mara, maybe you can start taking a look. Possibly the 36s. Just keep it extremely tight. Good morning, Carlos. Boeing calls. Thanks for the input. You're welcome. Let's take a look at Boeing calls. We looked at that yesterday, and there was one level to break. It was the 230 level, and 230 did not break. It got 229.94. Never did. So again, we're breaking out on the hourly per se, but I think 230 would be what you want to wait for. And you're welcome, Daniel. No problem. I apologize again for the mic. Patron Boys actually. Can you please explain the effect of TNX, which is yields, effect on precious metals? There really isn't an effect on precious metals. Back in the day in the 80s when we had high interest rates, gold was very, very strong. Gold was very, very sought after because of inflationary pressures. So again, when you have too many dollars chasing too few goods, that's inflation. Gold tends to retain and gain its value. So again, when you have inflation, dollars are hard to come by. The dollar index goes up, yields go up. So that usually helps gold or people who are looking to kind of keep the, when you want gold to be stronger, you want a weaker dollar. Obviously, a stronger dollar does affect gold because they're priced in dollars. Again, gold, guys, is not the best terms of growth. Again, if you're looking for more capital preservation, bonds and gold are your friend, obviously. But the assumption is that you're looking for growth in your portfolio. Again, assumption, you can put a small slice in it, but yields affecting gold, not as much as you think. It just really doesn't. With housing prices rising like this, do you think the middle to low class buyers will get squeezed out of weaker demand for houses? What you have is a lot of corporations buying homes. So again, like a BlackRock is buying a lot of houses. I mean, I don't know if they're buying Section 8 houses for lower class, lower working class. Rents are really high, obviously, but I think there's something that people are not really understanding. We have such a concentration of people in major cities: Chicago, Miami, New York, California, Houston, for example. But there's a big part of Central America, central of the United States, kind of like, the heartland, Kansas, Oklahoma. Their housing prices are not soaring, and they're very affordable. The problem is that you have people who want to live in big cities. Well, if you want to live in big cities, you're going to have to pay. That's just the reality of it. Listen, I live in Central Florida. I lived in Miami, downtown Miami, very expensive. But again, I wasn't getting much for my money, so I left to Central Florida, which is a lot cheaper. a lot cheaper to live. Is it as fun as Miami? No, but I'm 35 years old. I guess the partying is behind me. And at the end of the day, I think individuals need to be a little more mobile and see there's a lot more places to live in than just major metropolitan areas. Again, places like Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Minnesota, they're not that going crazy in terms of prices. Again, guys, housing is not some kind of deal where it's like something crazy out of the imagination. It's basic supply and demand. They need to build more houses in these metropolitan areas. Now, it gets easy for me to say people to pick up and move, but again, kind of keep that in the back of your head that maybe living in a Miami or a Houston may not be the smartest thing, or a Los Angeles, because it's just so damn expensive. So again, there's a lot of land out there in the United States. We don't have to live in just 5 cities. So again, will it correct? Will housing prices fall? Again, that just depends. It depends on demand. Housing prices are based on the last house sold in that area, or the kind of houses that are comparable. Again, we still have demand for housing, so there you go. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I live in Kansas. Housing prices are rising 20% year over year. Well, okay, fair enough. They are rising as well, but I don't think they're that expensive relative to the major metropolitan areas either. I know if I didn't live here, I would probably live in Colorado or Dallas, or possibly, well, no, probably Dallas or Colorado. I would love to live in Vegas, but again, those are the places that I've been seeing if I ever wanted to move. I like where I live, but in general, different housing areas are relatively cheap in comparison to the major metropolitan areas. I don't think I'd ever live in Los Angeles. San Diego's nice, but LA, no. As an example, but that just changes. The market's very fluid. We had this, many times throughout our history, and we get these housing booms and we get a little bit of housing correction. And unless you were, leveraging like crazy and speculating with homes, or you have tons of loans, you should. And if you're just a homeowner who lives in your house, making your mortgage payments, it doesn't matter how much your home is worth. You don't care unless you're planning to refi. So again, those in real estate, they know better than I. Those are the best people to ask. But again, I don't see any real reason to be concerned with housing right now, as long as demand is there. And again, remember, mortgage industry is very, very regulated in comparison to 2007. Big difference. Just moved out of Cali. Austin is affordable. Yeah, Austin is great. I love Texas. Shoot, man, I'm a Texas Longhorn fan. I love Austin. I want to buy a house in San Diego, but at $800,000 to $1 million for a 3-4 bedroom. Wow. Yeah, that's expensive. Listen, my house, I bought it as well, and this year, and it gained as well. I think it's up like 15% or something like that, and I just bought it in April. Again, does that make a difference to me? My wife? Not really. We're going to live here. Even if it's worth $10 million, I like this house. Would I sell it? No, I want to live here. More likely, I'll probably rent it out down the line. We'll see. But I think if you're just living in a single family home, does it really make a difference how much it's worth if you're just paying your mortgage either way? Unless you're planning to sell it, that's the only thing, but I'm not. So that's kind of my take on it. ARK and Chamath sold Tesla, time for puts. To be honest with you, looking at Tesla here at the chart, it's just consolidating, not much going on. Tesla's really hard to hold down in a sense. Remember, Michael Burry was short Tesla. I don't know if he closed those. 722 is your support on the 1 hour on Tesla. Chamath, he runs his business, or he runs his thing how he runs it. This idea that to take profits is some kind of scarlet letter, that's really stupid. You could sell whenever you want. And this idea of paper hands or diamond hands, guys, sell when you want. You don't need to explain to anybody. Maybe the guy wanted to buy a property. Maybe he wanted to do whatever with the money. That's fine. Tesla's not a cult. It's not a religion. It's a freaking stock with a piece of paper that's worth something. Who cares? If you like something, buy it. If you don't like it, sell it. I don't think he needs to explain himself to anybody unless it's his clients, fine. And ARKK, regards to them, Tesla did jump a little bit in price. They can only hold so much stock of one position in their portfolio. The assumption is that she sold to kind of even it out. So again, a lot of this stuff. Is it put season? I'm looking at it today. I do have some QQQ puts, the 358s. Let's see what we get this morning. We're starting to fade a little bit from the highs. So again, today is the end of the quarter, end of the month. I expect a little weakness today. I know a lot of people, wow, what do you mean weakness today? But that's what I expect today. We'll go ahead and leave it there, guys. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Cheers, guys.